Welcome back, my happy hybrids. I'm really excited that we have reached almost the end of the Green Meetings Industry Council Sustainable Meetings Conference. It has been a really productive 3 days. For the past 2 hours, people have been working on processing through what they've heard, what they've seen, what they've been thinking about, to come up with some truly audacious ideas that will help us disrupt the industry and create real change. So during this last hour, we are actually going to hear from those groups what their big actionable idea is. One of the challenges that Paul threw out is he doesn't want to hear about 5 easy, simple steps we can take, or, hey, why don't you eliminate water bottles? He wants to hear something like, maybe the solution isn't having recycling bins. Maybe the solution is getting rid of any option to throw away trash that you have to take back whatever you bring into the space. So I'm going to switch over to the stage because it looks like he is about to begin. So Guy Bigwood and Paul Salinger are going to take us home. If you have any comments, tweet at hashtag GMIC 2014.
1, 2.
Gonna come over and dance? Come on, have a dance! Go on, out of your seats, come on, let's have a boogie! Come on! Anyone wants to get up and have a boogie?
Everybody stand up. So people get really excited about the end.
Come on!
They are dancing
celebrate
miles before the next session. The last session of the
It's coming to an end!
So just wanted to show you guys the excitement leading up to
Come on, stand up, shake it out!
We all of us in the gutter. Some of us are looking at the star. Look round the room. Life is unkind.
Come on, table over here, come on, give it up! Come on, join us! Come on, stretch it up! Come on! And in the back! That's it, you're not getting away yet.
Every night, every day. Be together.
Go on, Trevor! Up you get! Come on, man!
Eyes are blue. Like the heavens above. Talk to me, darling, with a message of love.
now it's I hear that.
All right! Yeah! Woo! Well, that's better.
All right. Okay. We know everybody is super tired, but we do want to try and close out this conference the right way and get everybody energized at the end of the day. So here's how it's going to work. Guy's got a microphone. He's going to be walking around in the audience, asking for people to share. We're going to do this as quickly as possible. Then we're going to do something around commitments. We're going to do that as quickly as possible, and then we'll do some just very quick wrap-up, and we'll get you out of here so you can go rest for a bit before dinner. So Guy, are you ready?
2 seconds. After me singing, I need some water. The trouble with this group, it's hard to find volunteers.
Well, I know. Wait, no. I know Laura Bellway asked to go first.
Oh, did she?
So we're going to let her go first.
Laura, where are you? Yeah.
Woo! Okay, so here's the way this is going to work. Very quickly, give us your one big idea. Don't go into a lot of detail. We just want to capture the big idea and capture the seeds of ideas, and then we'll do more work on it later on. Okay? Go.
Okay, got it. Really quick, our big idea for the factor needed now to create a truly sustainable event industry is the philosophy of co-show. Co-show is a philosophy as well as an online trading post for the reuse of meeting items, like a yurdle for meeting and event items left that you want to leave behind. But anyway, it's a philosophy of co-show in where you are no longer a silo coming into a venue and leaving. It's a way to open the conversation with the clients, with the venues, salespeople across to reuse and repurpose space and resources across events.
Awesome idea.
Fantastic.
So,
Lovely.
awesome idea. Laura, would you commit to running a task force on how to do that? Excellent. Who's
Yes.
next?
Oh, yeah.
Back here.
So actually, I just wanted to give an appreciation to Paul Salinger and his team and everyone that volunteered for this conference. It takes, as we know, a village to put something on like this. So I just want to give a big appreciation. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure and my honor to do this. Okay, who else has got a breakthrough idea? Over here.
Okay, our team came up with the concept of having major hubs around the country. Let's say strategically having major cities, Los Angeles, New Orleans, New York, Chicago, and within each one of those hubs, there would be a team that would talk about what is sustainable, what's working, what's not working, and see how their footprint is impacting the environment, impacting our industry, and then have those hubs get together where you can start to share your ideas of where you are within your own industry, region by region. And that concept came up because we're talking about how non-standardized we are across the country in all of our processes. And in order to get something a little more unilateral across, that if we had these hubs that then identified where they were in the process of being green, that then they could set up some standards. They could then meet as a group around the United States, you know, as a top committee, and from there start to develop, talk about where they are within those standards of being green, and collaborate, be creative among that group, and communicate how they can raise or change their own standards, and then have a uniform set of standards that they can start to raise themselves towards, and take that conversation back to their own communities. That's kind of
Okay,
real globalist.
so cities as hubs working together to try and drive sustainable standards.
Correct.
That's the basic idea, right?
Correct.
This group, you guys should go talk to Kate Hurst from USGBC. Philadelphia is already doing that. You should get them to join up and do it.
I think adding on to that, there's a great project we've been doing for the last few years in Europe, and we have all of the 5 Scandinavian nations, all of their cities have a common vision and are benchmarking themselves, and it's in a transparent process called the Scandinavia Destination Index.
Okay.
And that's been rolled out globally. So.
All right, who's next?
Okay.
Okay, before I get started, Jeff Chase, you might want to leave the room. At least close your ears, but do know that we do love you. Okay, we just want to give that caveat. We decided that we were going to talk about the big white elephant in the room and how to get away with exhibits and trade shows as we know them today completely, and come up with new ideas to still have the interactive environment, still have the networking without the booths, without the giveaways, without the banners, without the crap, without the carpeting, without any of it. And we did realize it is the most unsustainable thing you can do in the event industry. Jeff, really, I do still love you.
So it's not, but let's understand, so it's not eliminate the kind of networking that goes on in trade shows.
Absolutely
It's
not.
eliminating booths.
It's eliminating the waste in the booth. So
Okay.
it's creating an environment of like a party or like a pool area or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, people can go and play games, but it's still creating creating that, and still having people come together for the sessions and the training that they're going to come together
Right.
for that, but finding another way there is not a person that I know, and I'm sure there's not one of you in the room, that likes walking down a trade show floor
Yeah.
as
So-
an attendee.
So great idea. So Jeff.
Except
would
for Jeff.
So Jeff,
Jeff,
would
you're
you,
coming with us.
would you commit to having Freeman work with these guys to rethink the trade show model?
We already work with them, and yes, we will continue to work with them.
All right.
We're on. We're not breaking up.
Okay, Jeff, what's your idea?
So since every rebuttal and sharing the love. So my group actually came up with a couple of ideas, and I'm going to share 2 or 3 of them, and then just figure out which is the biggest one.
Okay, very quickly.
One of them is having cubes. Instead of booths, shipping them all around the country, that each of the facilities have some kind of a space that is actually made out of a virtual, where you can have screens and walls, like a little thin TVs all around, and that you actually download your environment where it has the smell, touch, taste, and it actually is in a facility. So if you're going to promote yourself, then you just fly in and give your little thumb drive and plug it in, and you create the environment in the space. So the space stays there and it's rented to you, or you and the facilities have them already. So there's no shipping around and that kind of stuff. So that was one of the futuristic.
Okay.
Robots. I had to throw out robots. No, but, and the other one was what we said, and this was my, and Diane, we were fighting over this. This was really made it good because she loves to fight. The standards is wrong. Not standards are wrong, but the word standard scares everybody. Oh my God, we got a level 1 standard, level 1 standards. I'm scared of them. I can't read them. They're hard. I said, why don't we call them, come up with an industry to create a truly sustainable event industry. The factors that are needed is that we just simply come up with a standardized checklist of efficiencies for every meeting planner, and there happens to be 9 categories. I don't know where those 9 came from, but 9 categories of checklists that are checklists of efficiencies. And I want everybody to, when I go to a hotel, I just give them my checklist and say, this is what I'm looking for as a planner. Or I go to my transportation person, and here's my checklist. Here's my checklist. And it's not a standard, it's not, it is a standard, but it's not. It's just a checklist, and then they're actually, without even knowing it, sugarcoating it, giving them a pill.
Okay, I do want you to talk to Amy Spatrasano, who spent 3 or 4 years of her life developing standards.
Yeah.
All right, next, right here, behind you, guy.
So we talked about some of those tactics as well, and some of the grassroots stuff, and we ended up coming up, I think, with more of a total change of concept, and talked a lot about GMIC as an organization. And as to your point about standards, I think we decided that not only do we need to have the standards, we need to implement the standards in a very sort of prescribed way. So we talked about maybe GMIC goes back to being a council, not a membership organization, that our money goes towards somebody who lobbies, and we actually drive change through government regulation.
Okay, so rethinking GMIC as a council versus a member organization to help to actually engage the right brands to drive the standards. Just making the standards something that you have to do. Okay, making it mandatory rather than voluntary.
Especially considering where the standards sort of got their initial drive from.
Okay, great.
Policy.
Who else?
Some good work, yeah.
Who else?
Table over here, great table.
Okay, so at our table, we kind of merged 2 tables, so we have 2. So the first one is...
No more stuff!
So kind of to tag team with what they're saying over here is not just with the trade shows, but the items left in your room on a daily basis, and the printed materials handed out, and nobody wants to pay excess baggage fees anymore. So just eliminate those things and take those monies that are in your budgets and repurpose them for something else that the attendees are really going to enjoy and what have you. So that was...
Okay, so reduce stuff or eliminate stuff, great.
Okay, so one of the ideas that we talked about in our group kind of dwindled as we went along this afternoon. But it is the relationship or the lack of relationship with local government, the CVB, and the hospitality sector in cities, and the importance of cities taking that on, and I guess talking about this. So for example, the cities set certain standards and they tout them like here, I hope nobody from Moscone is still here, but I'll say it anyways, 80% waste diversion. We were just at the Department of the Environment, and that's what they're touting as a city. the building, Moscone buildings are not doing 80% waste diversion. There's a lot of issues that they're running up against, but if this is important, why are we not, as a hospitality industry, at least meeting the baselines of the larger city?
So the idea is connecting city policy to actual practice in the venues and facilities.
Exactly, because they're just not, a lot of the time they're just not talking. And you mentioned what I had said earlier to you today with Philadelphia. Yep. They have this amazing program as a city. The CVB didn't even know about it until we came into the city to kind of join those conversations. And this is, so.
Okay, great. Next.
All right, so we had a few ideas. One of them kind of revolves around incentives. Similar to Amy's group, maybe establish an organization, GMIC, to put more pressure on governments to create policies or mandates within government that's going to put incentives in place, whether negatives or positives. For example, we bring up paying for your own waste that you create at an event. If the organization has to pay for their own waste, that's going to be a negative incentive to reduce that waste. So that's kind of incentives. It's kind of the big idea, maybe creating a pressure on the government to put those incentives in place where it's going to make people want to make that change.
Yep. Okay. Great.
Thank you. Over here.
Thank
One more
you.
over here.
Hi there. Our group, instead of putting pressure on the government, wants to encourage the achievement of collaboration and communication between governments, venues, and organizers, planners, plus education and sharing of best practices among colleagues and competitors to change cultures and outcomes. We had a great table and a great group. Thank you, guys.
Our group talked about something kind of similar, but basically just creating a online database that has green venues in it, so that planners that are already looking for green venues can look at other options that they have, but also planners that maybe just got told from a CEO that they have to have a green meeting, they have a starting off point or a jumping off point to go to a green venue or a green supplier.
So if you come to dinner tonight, actually, I'm not sure that we're going to do it at dinner tonight, but if you talk to Johanna Walsh and or anybody from Greenview, they actually have just done a report that does exactly that.
Perfect.
Any other ideas? Great ideas.
All right. Our table decided that we think it's a two-pronged approach. We think that GMIC Global, along with the local advocacies, being the local GMIC members, should build relationships with policymakers, government leaders, mayors, environmental agencies, etc. So taking a note from what some of the other groups said, we certainly agree on that, the lobbying. The second prong is that the planners need to be better engaged. We need to educate planners about the sustainable story so that they become the heroes within their organizations to affect real change. And with these two approaches, we think that the next step would be to bridge this gap that we see between planners, venues, suppliers, and policymakers. But
so it sounds like there's some potential synergy between what you're talking about, Jonas, and what Amy's group is doing in terms of rethinking the organization as a council and then bringing advocacy back into fashion, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
We think policy, the visions of the policymakers are central to some of the developments we see. So,
great. Good job. Who else? Anybody else? Okay, over here at Andrew's table. Or Tahira's table. Sorry.
Anyway, it's Andrew's table. I just changed my voice. We actually were built exactly on what you said, and so what we said was we need to basically reframe the discussion. I'm going to actually just look at what we said because we wrote it better than we could speak it. That we need to reframe the discussion to better resonate with our clients or business owners. So corporations might want to show their leadership, and in many cases they need to be compliant. So instead of talking about sustainability, let's talk about what they need as far as sustainability goes and how we can support that. For associations, they might frame sustainability around showing leadership to their members and matching the culture of their members. So they may have people who that's important to them. And for religious associations, sustainability might be something different. So showcasing things like social justice. So just so that we're using their words to frame how we can support their sustainability. And really what Jonah just said, so it's about storytelling in a way that engages the audience, delivers to their specific needs, and it's about making the events and the event owners the heroes so that we can provide that little magic bullet of sustainability that's going to support what they're already doing and needing.
All right, fantastic. All right, anybody else? Who else? Who hasn't shared yet that needs to share?
Okay, I got 3 ideas. First off, there's a lot of training going on in the hospitality industry. You can get degrees in hospitality now. Why not incorporate all this into what's being taught? So that when people come out they graduate, they got their degree, and they're versed in sustainability. Secondly, it just blows me away that after years of putting these APEC standards together, they now cost money if you want to have them. Why not just give them away so that everybody has them, everybody's on the same page, and we just move forward from there? And then on a small level, how about when we have a meeting, we actually put our name on the sign? Green Meetings Industry Council. I will bet you that the majority of people walking this hotel do not know what GMIC stands for, and probably aren't going to look it up. In fact, if they did look it up on Google, there's a whole bunch of companies that have the same GMIC. Who's here?
Right.
They don't know.
Right. So, 3 ideas: training, giving away the standards for free, better branding at the conference. Thank you, Tom. All right. Is there anybody else that feels like they need to share?
Yep. Cool.
Hi, I would really like to see a youth program. I think if our education is so important, I think we need to start mentoring some youth. Maybe if we can get them to shadow us, but have a youth GMIC, why not? Yeah,
Good
but bring
idea.
them along, get them here.
Yeah.
Get them here with us.
Yep. Okay.
We ran a wonderful Future Leaders program.
Yeah, we do have a Future Leaders program, but we often don't get them to stay for the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
There are a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for being here. All right. Is there anybody else?
One last one. Anyone else?
Okay. Fantastic work. Some great ideas. Obviously, the devil is in the details with a lot of these, but we've captured the ideas, and now we'll start to think about how we might actually implement some of them. All right. Last thing that we're going to do. Guy? Oh, two last things. Okay, so Guy is going to do the next part of this.
Great. Okay, we're going to do something a little different now. So I'd like you to put down your phones. I'd like you to take a seat. Make yourself very comfortable. Close your PCs, please. Roger, Theodora, if you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome to. I'd like to, get comfortable. Sit nicely in your chair. And I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit tired. So we're going to have a little kind of zone out time. We're just going to have some lights, have a little rest, have a little sleep. So I'd like you to close your eyes, get comfortable. You don't have to look at me. You just close your eyes. And let's have a little rest, eh? So let's take a big breath. Let it out. Really breathe in from your bottom of your stomach all the way into your chest. And let it out. Relax your shoulders. Relax your hands. And cross your legs. Breathe in through your nose and let it out of your mouth. relax your face muscles. Try to let go of all that tension you're carrying. I want you to kind of go back now a couple of days to our first day when we came here. We had the great opening session. We had 3 ladies come up here. Sustainable brands with the city, we had the water organization. How to think about that? What do you remember from that? What sparked you? What reminded you? What are you going to take away? The next day, we started working as teams. We started coming up with great ideas. So what other ideas worked for you? What do you remember? What did you think that was really useful? That I could do that. Think about a session with Nancy and Lindsay in the World Cafe. What motivated you? What worked for you? What would you take forward? And then yesterday afternoon we had 2 fantastic sessions about collaboration and about storytelling. So what can you do to tell your story different? Who's your hero? Who's your mentor? And what are you going to do about collaborating? What can you do different? What's the next Airbnb you're going to stay in? And then today we had some fantastic tours. So again, what inspired you? What did you learn? What are you going to take away? So now as you look back, what are you going to do different on Monday? What's your commitment? I played a video which is Architects of the Better World. What's your role as an architect? And what are you going to build? So again, what's your commitment to change? What are you going to do? Okay, guys, please open up your eyes. Welcome back. Thanks for your moments, a little bit of peace in a busy schedule. Now, Paul.
Well, stay up there, and you're going to help me with this. So what we wanted to do is, oftentimes we come to these conferences and we sit and we listen to stuff and maybe we talk and, but we don't necessarily make any commitments. What are we going to actually do, as Guy just said? So what we wanted to do for just a few minutes, and we're going to do this fast, is pair up with somebody at your table and essentially make a commitment to each other about what you're going to do over the next year to drive sustainability forward in your organization, your company, or whatever you want to do. And then also commit to reminding the other person that you just made that commitment to stay connected to them and remind them throughout the year what commitments that they have made. So let's just do 10 minutes. So 5 minutes of commitment, 5 minutes of reminder, and we'll be done. And we'll wrap it up from there. All right?
Hey, so I am back.
Guy and I are going to do the same thing up here, so we'll tell you what it is.
And so while people are pairing up to talk about what they're going to commit to, and the partner is, when they're going to remind you, I would love for the virtual audience, go ahead and tell me what you want to commit to. What have you heard at this conference so far that you found useful? What do you feel like it really sparked you
One quick thing, you guys.
to change tomorrow?
Write
Hold on a
it
second.
down. Because if you write it down, you're much more likely to actually act on the commitment.
So Paul was just saying, if you write down what you're committing to, you're more likely
on every
to
table that say commitments on the top.
you're more likely to go ahead and follow through with the act of change. So our forum, as my hashtag Happy Hybrid audience, you can write it down as well. Send me a tweet, hashtag it GMIC 2014, and tell me, what do you commit to? What are some of the ideas that you could really adapt and start working on Monday? And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to share with you, we did have a couple of suggestions from the virtual audience. Catman Freddie, her big ideas were, what if we could get leading hotel chains to surcharge brown meetings? And then you could take 50% of that surcharge and give that to GMIC to help it fund its efforts, whether those efforts go to education or advocacy. And her other big idea was, why aren't we at other industry events to raise awareness? I know that GMIC has a sustainability cafe at IMEX, but there's no reason why GMIC couldn't co-locate their meetings with other local associations like MPI or PCMA and just be the sustainable arm of those industry associations that already exist. So those are some interesting ideas. As people were sharing what their ideas were, Paul was pointing them to other people in the room who might be able to help them activate them. So I'm going to go to the Twitter feed right now, and I'm going to see if there are things that people were saying that they could commit to. So if you wouldn't mind, just hashtag GMIC 2012, and let me know, what do you want your role to be? If we have any way of becoming an architect for this new world of sustainable events, what is it that you want to be responsible for building, or what team do you want to be working on to move us all forward? So I see a lot of so Tess Molly said that she couldn't make it this year with the GMIC Atlanta board, and there are a lot of representatives here from there. But she shared her big audacious goal with Stay Hip ATL at South Face Energy. So I'm going to figure out what that is, and we'll add that to the document. So the document also, you can find all of the big actionable ideas at ez.com/GMIC notes. I have shut down the ability to edit the document just because we had a joker that came in and I had to revert the document and save it. But you are still able to comment on it. So if you see something that you like, go ahead and highlight that and insert a comment and say, this is what I commit to. This is what I want to help change. I'm going to go and see if anyone sent anything to me directly. Let's see. So I think one of the things that I am going to make a commitment to is we have one division of our company where we create physical show programs, because in venues where there are equity actors, you're required to have their name in 3 different locations, and so that necessitates a show program. So what always annoys me is that one particular product is always over-ordered by our clients, and we always end up tossing them away in great numbers. And so I'm really going to work hard with the production departments to make sure that we are only printing as much as we need, so that there's nothing that we have to throw away. I also love the idea of having central garbage cans and recycling stations so that when people are inside an office environment, they have to actually make a conscious choice to go and toss things. And so figuring out ways that internally we can green up our events. I love a lot of the kinesthetic elements that were incorporated into this event, and I love a lot of the collaborative exercises. So another thing that I'd like to commit to is for our PYM Live events, they're already interactive. We've already done away with trade show booths and some of the other things that we've heard people say would be a great actionable idea. But I think the next step is really thinking about how we could harness the real brain power that's in the room and go further than we have been in terms of incorporating sustainability into the education and partnering plan your meetings with local GMIC chapters to help people find resources and help people find the education. So that's what I commit to, and you can send me reminders at PYM Live and let me know. You can ask me how we're doing and what our progress is. And if you have something that you want to share, even if you're just watching this on demand or if you're a few minutes or hours or days or years behind us, you can still tweet at me at PYM Live and share what you commit to. And then I will remind you. I swear I will be your virtual partner. And so we will partner together to make this a more sustainable world. I was curious just to see what your reactions were. One of the things that you guys don't see is that in our kind of virtual console, we have a whole tech team that helps us out. This is Charlie, and he's been with me the whole time. He's been operating the camera, and I was just wondering, is sustainability something you ever thought about before you came to this conference?
Absolutely. I was in 9th grade when the first Earth Day hit, and I've been recycling since like 1970. I did paper drives and everything as a kid, and I see unsustainable practices all the time in this industry, and I'm actually very glad to see that this is happening. As I was telling your associate, I see disposable tablecloths and table skirts at certain venues in the area. I won't say which. And it's off-gassing. It's really powerfully sticky plastic, and they're just throwing it away after one use. So it makes no sense to me that they wouldn't just have reusable stuff. And I'm a cheapskate, and it also adds, I do a lot of sustainable practices in my own life, and I see it in the industry as it's really important in this industry.
So tell me, what did you see here that really sparked you, that really inspired you, that made you say, you know what, I'm going to start doing this on Monday. I'm going to start telling people about this today.
Well, I work in Moscone all the time, and a different group does the builds of the big booths and stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that type of stuff where we don't see a lot of stuff ending up in dumpsters, a lot of carpet being thrown out. And I'm just going to spread that idea around because, if anybody wants my opinion, I don't know, I'm a camera guy, so they may not want my opinion about sustainable carpet practices, but I think it's really critical, and we have a very small planet. Yeah.
And I think that, that's part of what we're doing here together is to get past the idea of, I'm just the camera guy. Like, how can I affect change? Or,
exactly.
I'm just the on-camera talent. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I'm also very opinionated and a loudmouth, so. But yeah, I think we teach our children this stuff and add to the common wisdom every chance we get. And when they were talking about stopping hunger, when I worked in the corporate environment, the company I worked for had the cafeteria had a minimum of 10 servings whenever they brought food to a meeting room. So if 2 people had a meeting, they ordered sandwiches, they got 10 sandwiches, or at least food for 10. And I just made a practice out of just taking that food, and when I was walking home, I just hand sandwiches out. Because that's the thing that really has always hit me is how much food goes to waste in this country. Because I have worked in the restaurant industry, and I've seen it firsthand. But in the corporate, I was blown away just as a common practice how much food they just threw out every day.
Oh yeah,
and so I just handed out sandwiches to people who were hungry.
And
and on a very small scale, I try to make a difference. But
yeah, and I did that in New York too. I used to, like, when we had fundraisers for theater, or when we had, like, if we had leftover takeout food or something, like, we're always, you know, I'd always give it away, but it was also a community where you walked everywhere.
Exactly.
So you could take a cheese plate and find somebody within a block that needed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really great idea. It's like, I don't think a lot of meeting planners think about, well, how do I dispose of all this waste? Because it's something that all meeting planners complain about.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you kind of underestimate by 30%, the caterer knows you're underestimating by 30%, so they create, you know, a cushion, and then you end up with more excess. And I think what's really important is, you know, these Good Samaritan laws that make it possible, and some of the options that we've seen here, like the food runners and the Stop Hunger Now. I mean, just really practical ways that you can take something that's so...
Meals on Wheels are heroes around
Yeah.
here. I have had neighbors who had Meals on Wheels many times.
Well, Charlie, I am going to remind you of your commitment
Okay.
to start bugging people at Moscone about the carpet and about those awful disposable plastic
Yes,
things.
I will.
So you bug me about what I'm doing with Plan Your Meetings to help move the industry forward and partner with organizations like
Great.
GMIC to get the word out and educate people.
All right.
All right, deal? All right.
All right. Shaking your hand. Okay.
All right. We're going to switch back to the screen right now because we have Paul.
Okay, so I have committed to Guy to follow through on what I've started with Oracle Open World to build a 4-year sustainability sponsorship that helps us get to zero waste, carbon neutrality, and feeding 1 million people in the next 4 years.
Wow.
Guy.
My commitment's not so articulate yet, but I will commit by that I will create and launch in the next month a very, very bold vision for 220 for MCI. So,
all right.
Watch the space.
Okay, so this table here, go first. Jeff, get your group up there. Let's do a photo.
We're going to get everyone on? We're going to take individually, or should we get everyone on? No?
I think what Ann and Adrian were doing is do them individually, and then we'll do a big group photo.
It's going to take forever, I think.
For the virtual viewing audience, is there a way that somebody could take a microphone up to where the picture's being taken and kind of narrate what's happening or what people are sharing?
So just want me to read it out?
That'd be awesome, yeah.
It'll take too long, Christy.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to do that. We want to do this very fast.
Do you want to read out what's your commitment?
literally get the groups lined up and get through this.
Okay, okay.
So Amy, bring your group
Right.
up, be
What's your
ready to
commitment
go.
there, Jeff?
Just
What's your commitment?
yeah, somebody else go first then. Let's just start lining up over here so that we can get the groups in there very fast and do this.
Zoned out.
Oh yeah? Who are you? Tomorrow.
Roll on up, ladies and gentlemen. Come up with the commitments.
Okay, so since we are unable to read out what is happening up front, what we'll do is we will take pictures and share them with you virtually. We also have things at the notes, so big action videos are there.
The buses in the game will start at 6:45 p.m. in the lobby. The last bus is at 7:15 p.m. And then the buses will start coming back here at around 9 p.m. Okay?
Is there dancing?
Sorry?
Is there dancing?
Is there dancing? Absolutely. There has to be dancing.
On the bus.
On the bus, right.
In the foyer, in the lobby. We'll be dancing in the streets.
Buses depart from the lobby at 6:45. Last bus at 7:15.
What do we do with the posters?
Hmm?
What do we do with the posters? Keep them? Take them?
I've had Doug, the photographer, take photos of all of them.
Oh, great. Perfect. Hey, so good news. We actually have some people who are coming over to share their commitments with us. Excellent. Hey, so hello, Lee Bentley.
Hi.
I recognize your face from Topi. So what do we got here?
Okay, we're going to engage the trustees in the conversation. What are they committed to? We will continue to work with youth on sustainability issues and bring along others. Less is more. I will be relentless at my company to remove styrofoam, begin a recycling program, and push for minimal printing. I will educate all the visitors in my venue on our sustainability programs and promote green meetings. Bring the whole world water back to the ranch, more sustainability practices. I will educate myself in our current practices, engage in the green team, and see where I can enhance it, and be personally more sustainable and educate my peers. I think that's it.
Awesome, cool. Which one was yours?
The one of taking care of styrofoam, getting it out, getting a recycling program going, and minimal printing.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. If there's anyone else that would like to bring their paper up to the tech desk so that we can share it with the virtual audience while you're just kind of milling around, you're welcome to. Cool, so if you are watching from the virtual audience, let me know. Oh, awesome. Awesome, so we have another Amy Spatrosano, who, by the way, I didn't have time to mention this earlier, but in case you don't know and you've been living under a rock and don't know what GMIC stands for or anything, Amy Spatrosano was one of the co-founders of GMIC along with Nancy Zavada, who is also here. And so great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this microphone up to you guys and you tell me what you have.
All right. Whoa. Well, we didn't know we were going to have to confess. We thought we could just show it. You guys would be able to read it, and then we could be totally cool about it.
Yeah.
Why
don't you guys be cool, and I'll read it for the audience.
Okay, there you go.
Awesome. So, and then you guys can just smile and look pretty and like gather around. I don't know that all of you are in there. So, okay, so other commitments, support GMIC to transition to its next phase. Retreat planning and implementation workbook for yoga teachers. I'm going to take pictures and share with everybody. So we have more announcements. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, virtual people. Okay.
I hope that you guys liked the format. For perspective, I thought it worked quite well. So, thank you. So, we're going to do more thank yous at the dinner tonight, but there's definitely, I know everybody's not going, so I just want to do some very quick thank yous. So, first of all, I really have to, thank my co-event designer, Ann Hansen, who's done a fantastic job. And I also want to thank Wonderful Copenhagen and Jonas. Wonderful Copenhagen actually sponsored Ann to work with us this year, and so their sponsorship allowed her to spend a lot of hours with me doing the event design, fly out here and be a part of this conference. So thank you to Wonderful Copenhagen. I also want to thank our other facilitators, especially Adrian, who really stepped in and helped at the last minute on a number of things. Adrian Seeger, Nancy and Lindsay, Roger and Guy, our other facilitators. We absolutely could not have done this event without the support and the hard work of the local host committee from the Northern California chapter. So we'll talk more about that at dinner, but Chris, Linda, everybody on the committees. You guys have done a fantastic job. You are rock stars. Who else? Who am I forgetting, guys?
The wonderful technical team at the back.
Yes, the wonderful technical team at the back.
Oh, hi.
So especially Kristi Casey Sanders, who has done an amazing job on the virtual side and the social side. Everybody from Social Enterprises that has done all of the logistics for the conference.
We'd like to thank the virtual audience.
Yep.
Thank you
to the
audience.
virtual audience, the happy hybrids as they named themselves.
And over here.
Yes, thank you. So I know everybody can't hear Chris, so let me repeat what she's saying. Eve Schmidt, who some of you know, she works at VMware. She's been the chapter president in the Northern California chapter. She's been very super involved. She was the chair of the host committee. And unfortunately, she was in a traffic accident a couple of days ago, and she was unable to be here. But she did yeoman's work, and she did fantastic work. And so, absolutely, big thank you to Eve Schmidt.
And you know that how tough these things are to put on, and you always need a leader, someone to step out there and make this happen. So I know we've said it, but I'd like to thank Paul for his determination, his commitment, and his inspiration. Thank you, Paul.
And then, last but not least, thank you to all of you, because again, it was really about you. It was about creating a space for you to do the work. It's always about you guys out there every single day doing this work, being evangelists, being advocates for the organization, and being advocates for sustainability. So, on that note, hopefully we'll see you all at the dinner, and hopefully we will see you at next year's conference, whatever the iteration of it is, and we will know that very soon. Have a great evening. Have a safe travels home. Stay connected to one another, because as a group we can achieve a lot. Thank you all very, very much.
Woo!
Right?
The conference is closed.
Board nominations will be coming out soon.
Are you with us, girls? Always good to be back in San Francisco with our message of love. 1, 2, 1, 2, help me out.
All right, so what was really awesome is that a lot of people actually brought me their sheets of their commitments so I can share them with you. So these are some of the things that people are committing to change. They want to achieve collaboration and communication between governments, venues, and organizers, planners, plus education and sharing of best practices among colleagues and competitors to change cultures and outcomes. Yeah, we're done with that if you want to go ahead. No more stuff. We're going to remove, eliminate all giveaway items, rooms, gifts, /drops, printed materials, etc. Connect governments with CVBs, and the hospitality industry to establish and meet common sustainability goals and standards. We're going to support GMIC to transition to its next phase. We're going to retreat planning and implementation workbook for yoga teachers with an emphasis on sustainable meeting creation. We're going to connect to City of Edmonton sustainability and environmental initiatives to drive change. Sustainable storytelling. Add sustainable suggestions in all client communications. That's a really awesome one. Because a lot of times people don't know what they don't know. And if they don't have a place where they can go ahead and, they may not have ever thought that they had the power to offer you suggestions on being more sustainable. And integrate sustainability into content for meeting education, not as a separate subject, but as an integrated, like a CIC manual kind of format. Integrate sustainability message tailored to an audience in every proposal response. Share meeting sustainability message to next level, compliance, procurement, and sustainability. So people responsible for inside corporations that are not the planners understand the importance of sustainability. creating a new educational tool, moving green back to its proper status, because green is a color. People, in case you didn't know, green is a color. It's not really a verb. I guess that's the point of that one. All right, cool. Well, if you have something that you've been inspired to make a change doing, it's something that really sparked your imagination and really motivated you to make a change. If you've discovered or had a great idea of some way that you could motivate people to be the heroes within organizations, or ways in which you could help venues become more sustainable or things like that, please share them. Hashtag GMIC 2014, tweet at PYM Live. Was there somebody who wanted to jump in and talk, or were they just coming by to say hi? All right, well, I'll tell you what. We still have a banquet and an award ceremony, so I'm sure they'll find me if they really want to connect with the virtual audience. And otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you so much for hanging out with us. It has been a really amazing 3 days. It's been a really inspirational event. And I have been very honored to be your host and help introduce you to this world and help connect you to what's been going on in person in San Francisco. So until next time, plan well and prosper, friends.